Hey guys, Third and Still Gaming here for yet another Gotham Knights video. On today's video, we're going to be talking about the file size of the game in both PC and console. Before we get to that, if you like this, please make sure you share, like, and subscribe. We're a growing channel, we're brand new, and we have to get to that 1,000 mark, so if you could, hit that subscribe button down below. All right, let's get to it. Gotham Knights file size has been made public in advance of the upcoming release later this month on October 21st. Gotham Knights will be released on PC and current generation consoles. Gotham Knights was shelved for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One earlier this year, despite being advertised as cross-gen release. Many games today consume a large amount of storage space, some even go over 100 gigabytes. The Kraken comparison technology of the PlayStation 5 is excellent, and the results changing according to the game. For instance, Dying Light 2 on the PlayStation 5 was around half the size of the PlayStation 4 version, despite having more graphically demanding content. However, many AAA PlayStation 5 games take up far more space, and the file system fans can now better predict how much room Gotham Knights will need when it debuts next week. According to PlayStation Game Size on Twitter, Gotham Knights PlayStation 5 version will require 41.030 gigabytes of storage. The figure seems to be slightly lower than the other games that are currently being released, but it was quite typical for a AAA game during the previous generation, additionally, according to PlayStation Game Size. Now, the preload will start on October 19th, 2 days before the game launches. Given that his figures refers to the PlayStation 5 version, Gotham Knights may require less or perhaps even more storage space on other systems. Now, Gotham Knights is the first full release from WB Games Montreal and the studio behind Batman Arkham Origins since 2013. Batman Arkham Origins garnered mixed reviews upon release, with one of the main criticisms being that the game didn't add enough of Arkham's franchise. When Gotham Knights comes out later this month, it will be interesting to see how it stacks up against Arkham Origins and the rest of the franchise. Alright, so now the PC requirements for Gotham Knights are quite hefty. Minimum PC requirements for Gotham Knights were just revised on Steam page, and some Steam users are in for a surprise. A GeForce GTX 1660 to an AMD Radeon RX 590 is required as a bare minimum hardware for Gotham Knights to function at 1080p resolution and 60 frames per second on low settings, which is more powerful than the typical Steam user. Now, here are the Gotham Knights minimum system requirements at list on Steam. The OS Windows is 1064-bit, processor Intel Core i5-9600K, 3.7 GHz or AMD Radeon 5 3600 or 3.6 GHz, a memory of 8 GB RAM, graphics NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1600 Ti or AMD Radeon RX 590, DirectX version 12, storage 45 gigs available space, and additional notes of 1080p, 60 frames per second, and low quality settings. Now let's contrast this with the hardware with the most recent Steam survey, which was recently finished last month. The GeForce GTX 1060 and GTX 1650 are the most popular video cards on the platform, with the GTX 1050 Ti ranking highly as well. The majority of the cards available on the platform comprising about 20% of all Steam users, and are these three, and these indicates that the fifth Steam user are unable to run Gotham Knights. Now, the RTX 580 and the lower cards are far more prevalent than the RX 590, which doesn't bode well for the AMD. Although clock speeds alone are not only an aspect of the effects of the CPU processing power, but getting into the CPU reveals clock speeds that are significantly lower than the Gotham Knights is requiring. The typical Steam user still uses a CPU that's several generations old and GTX 1060 to play games with Gotham Knights, and that individual will find themselves in a bad situation. But since Gotham Knights and other games are no longer compatible in the previous generation consoles, a hardware change for PC gamers was unavoidable. Alright, so not too bad for the size of the actual game. 41 gigs. I mean, if you're playing on the Xbox Series S and you have limited hard drive space, I see this maybe being a problem. You have to get rid of one of the other games or get an extended hard drive if you're running out of room for all these other bigger AAA games that have been out recently or earlier this year. But overall, I think, there you go, good size. Now you have to choose which one do you want. Do you want to play it on the PC with super graphics, and mods down the road, from the community, or do you get it on console? I know myself, I'm probably going to get it digitally on console because I can then share with my son. Other than that, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Are you excited? We are just 1 week away from playing Gotham Knights. Let me know in the comment section down below what system you're getting it for, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe.